I'm making a new video on a subject that has been the favorite of many philosophers, and actually this is so Muslim, so in the tradition of many Islamic philosophers, and even goes back to some verses in Quran. I could relate to you one verse that says, look on the earth and see the vestiges of old empires, or what happened to the past in the past to these great empires, and they came and they are ruins now, and more is on the way. But this subject has been preoccupying many thinkers and philosophers throughout the ages. I could relate to you one Islamic philosopher. His name was Ibn Arabi, and he studied how different kingdoms came into being, which was usually through invasions by a given tribe, and they made a kingdom and tried for a while, and then it fell apart. And he was wondering how did it start and why it lasted and why it fell apart. And this subject is kind of relates to militarism and the desire to be an exceptional kind of people and be admired by other nations, and very forcefully go there and overthrow their government and take over their resources. And actually this problem is very much right now in our face, and every day. I was doing my exercises in the gym, and there's a TV that I was watching, the Fox News. All these very good-looking anchor men and women come on, and they're chit-chatting about how their ships were in the Gulf of Eden, and some were in Persian Gulf, some were in the Chinese waters, and then they were also having conflicts with Russia and Ukraine, and with Russia and Syria, and they really didn't like the Iranian government. I don't know why we are in the middle of it, because the Iranians, they really don't like wars, and we haven't had a war that we started in the last 3.5 centuries. The only war that I can remember in modern times that Iran was involved in was the defensive war against Saddam Hussein. Like, how did we get here? But I guess we are not going to be able to get ourselves out of these conflicts because where we are located at. But the subject of empires and militarism is a philosophical subject, and I claim to be a minor philosopher, and I will talk about it and kind of go over some of the interesting ideas that have come down. I want to tell you this funny story. I had a friend. We were both working as the shuttle drivers in the airport, and he was from Afghanistan, and he was telling me about a village in Afghanistan. Okay, this village is very special. It's kind of situated on top of a place that's like, imagine a hill that the sides are extremely sharp, like imagine it's like a wall just comes out of the ground on all sides. I mean, it's almost impossible to get up there. Okay, on top of this, and it goes up, way up, right? On top of this hill, in a small area, well, it has enough acreage. Okay, sits this village. The people of this village, they speak a dialect which is the ancient Greek dialect. Okay, so actually this village is a part of the Greek Empire of Alexander. Okay, and so they had chosen this place, as a vestige of the empire. So waiting for the time that Alexander or another emperor would come back and they could strengthen or reestablish the empire. Okay, and, you can find villages like this all over the world. But for example, you can find in the United States areas where there's cities that are entirely French speaking. Okay, or the in well, you see this a lot in Middle East because this business of empire building and militarism has been going on for a long time. You sometimes you see like in Egypt you see entire cities like that are like ghost towns, but they were built by pharaohs, and like you find entire tribes or group of people, they speak Ashurians or Assyrians or the entirely Jewish tribe that was the remnant of when Cyrus brought them from Babylon, or just totally off the beat people that totally don't belong to the place, and they speak dialects of ancient Judaism, ancient Assyrian or Chaldean or Azari or this or that, and they're all remnants of one or other empires that came on and they were very strong and then they died out. So don't you think it's very valuable to be a favorite subject of a dead emperor? I could be one of those, it doesn't pay social security or anything, but hey, I could feel special, I'm very, very much in demand. I speak an ancient dialect of Greek. Get my point? But this business of militarism is extremely expensive, as you might have guessed. These empires and these conquests, they go on, and then there comes a point where the main engine or the main land that was supplying all the money and soldiers and all the weapons and all, it goes bust, like the Alexander's empire, or like the Greeks or the Arabs or the Jews or the Turks. It has all these outposts all over the empire, places which are extremely inaccessible or hard for people to get to. So it becomes like a castle in the middle of nowhere, and then when the empire dies, all these outposts are there, waiting for some time in the future for yet another emperor to rise from Roman emperor or Greek or Turkish or whatever, and they come back and do this and that. And it's interesting to look at these last stages of the empire is when the empire goes bust, which means that, and there is a very good reason for this, is when they overstretch, they spend tremendous amount of their national resources and monies and weapons and lives in this outpouring of militarism to save the empire or extend it even more. And it kind of reminds you of United States, and look how many places United States is involved militarily. In South China Sea, in Ukraine, they don't like Iranians in the Strait of Hormuz, in the Strait of Aden, in you name it, and is there like an accountant that sit down and figure out, how much money are we really losing on all these wars? And if that money somehow found its way into our retirement accounts or vacation accounts or personal lives in some form or another, how would our society be? I mean, it's just very sad, and this is so a classic example of what happens to empires. Uh, it's just a form of imposed poverty by bureaucrats in somewhere or another. Uh, there was an economist, he called the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq the $3 trillion war. I think the cost is more like 6 or 10 trillion. I don't know how many trillions we have lost there, and then how many trillions were lost or given to military manufacturers, and they're missing it out of their treasury. What impact these monies would have had on our lives, anybody's life, American, white, or nationals of U.S. This totally very sad. So, well, at the end of the Roman Empire, there was a political disintegration, which is exactly what's going to happen at the end of the U.S. Empire, or there will be disintegration of different states, because when the United States was built, there were the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, and these rights and ideas, they protect businesses and individuals against excessive central government manipulation, or they protect them in lives and money, and in just the fact that they wouldn't want to get into all kinds of foreign entanglements. When these rules or these constitutional rights or safeguards are broken, then there comes a point when the empire is bankrupt and is falling apart, that the people of different states, they start figuring out, hey, we are bankrupt and we don't have all these safeguards. We would be better off to ditch these guys, ditch the central government, and go on our own, because if we do that, we at least have some freedom to stop ourselves from getting involved in more of these ventures, and also we can print our own money and spend it in our own lives, and also our relationships with the foreign entities will improve. We'll do better in business, and so I mean, I think some commentators and analysts, they see this happening because they're smart and they can reason that, hey, this is going to happen, or they look at the Roman Empire and how it fell apart, or other empires that they fell apart. But I think you get my drift of my point, is that there comes a point in the empire where the different groups, they figure out, hey, this thing is falling apart, is now working, and we will be better off to just ditch them. And if something like that happened, if there was a political disintegration, it will be nice. It will not be a tragedy. It will not be a disaster, because the resources that a society has, like manufacturing, artistic, intellectual, scientific, they will not be spent on these stupid ventures. They will have to be spent in locally, and it will enrich the locals. Anybody who's living and doing business here, or if $6 trillion didn't ship out to Afghanistan and Iraq, that $6 trillion will find its way all kinds of local projects or ideas. I mean, when the Roman Empire fell apart, there was a period of chaos, but afterwards, it, the best of each locality or each society comes when the people of those areas, they spend their resources and their money on themselves, and their own national or regional priorities are more important than all these stupid things. And in fact, it's very sad that we have all these technology and all these scientific accomplishments, and they're all being spent on military ventures. I had a friend, George, and we were both shuttle drivers in Long Beach. He told me he was working for DARPA, and he told me that there are so many scientific discoveries and technologies that DARPA has them, the society doesn't know shit about it. They just mothball it somewhere because they don't want for this reason or that reason, or it fall into the hand of foreigners. It's just these things are like a wealth of a nation, or the money or the credit that a nation has. It shouldn't be spent on empire building or militarism. But I guess many philosophers they come to realize that it's totally hopeless to try to dissuade these military or political leaders of central governments to stop doing that, because they just have to do it, and they have to hit that brick wall at some point. I mean, would you, like a lone philosopher or thinker, go and stand in front of a moving train just to stop it because you know that this moving train is going to hit the hill? No, I mean, this is like it has to happen. It has happened many times, and there is no stopping it while the wreck is going on. It's just bare and green. But there is one thing that the common man can do is not to believe in all this bullshit, and realize that all this stuff is BS, and there is no exceptional people, and there is no empire. Okay, and because of technological developments, and this is our future, decentralization and regionalism and localism is the future, because the technology enables individuals and enables particular companies to just go their own way and let these institutions die. I'm going to have another video about companies and institutions that are really dead. They're like zombies, or they have died. And this is a subject that many philosophers and economists also ponder about, thinking about dead companies, dead institutions, or dead political or artistic, how they came about and what kept them going, or why they died out. Because studying these things, it enriches you, and also it helps you see what's going on right now in a greater light. Thank you for being in my video channel. I'm sorry my lectures or ideas are very heavy. They're very loaded with all kinds of stuff, philosophical and scientific, but I probably won't get a lot of audience, but it's okay. There are people that sit and think about these things, and it is something that is in Islamic or Christian traditions. People wonder about this stuff. Hey, maybe this is Siraj al-Huda, which means maybe this might be a guiding light. Thank you very much.